In a world of fake news, this is news you can trust. Covering our bodies in Chick-fil-A sauce so the predators of secular culture can't see us. You're listening to the Babylon Bee with your hosts, Kyle Mann and Ethan Nicolle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Babylon Bee podcast. We're currently here caked in Chick-fil-A sauce so the predators of culture can't see us.
Oh man, I forget that I write this like one afternoon at a at a cigar shop. Back when they were open and I could go to the cigar shop. But yeah, so I forget completely about them, and then I don't think you've heard them, and then you just hear Dave saying them.
Yeah, that's just great. So there's
that's from Predator. He covers himself in mud just to make sure. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
I saw it later in life, but I've seen it.
I remember, you were like, I've seen like one of those Arnold movies. I think it was like Predator Twins or something.
No, I got it. What's the chopper
like
one?
They all blur together.
What's the chopper one? Get to the
chopper. I'm pretty sure that's Predator, but yeah, I think that's Predator because at the end he needs to get to the chopper.
Oh, what's the other one? There was another Commando. Commando. That's the one.
I want to have a Commando man night.
I think that's the one I asked you. I said, "Is that the same thing?" And you're like, "No, that's
completely
the same
thing as
movie.
Predator." I wanted to slap you.
You did show me that glorious 80s movie. What was it?
Deadly Prey.
Deadly Prey. With the Mystery Science, or the
Riff
Tracks guys, yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So there's smoke in the air right now, and we're playing hacky sack, and there's reggae music playing all around us because it's 420.
Oh, yeah, forgot. Hitler's birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's canceled.
Yeah, that's true.
And rightfully so, just to be clear.
He had it coming, yeah. He asked for it.
He did ask for that.
It's one of the few times I'm all for cancel culture.
Yeah. But no, the only thing I get high on is GOD. So, this is a
what?
A Babylon Bee podcast.
Oh yeah, speaking of being
where we do
on
things.
Something.
And you might have enjoyed the last episode of this podcast.
Or not.
Where all of a sudden you heard a crazy old guy ranting.
The wrong podcast.
And it was the entire wrong podcast. Because Ethan decided that he would try to promote his other podcast, Mullet, by accidentally uploading it to the Babylon Bee feed.
So people in the behind the scenes, we use the same company to upload Babylon Bee podcasts and my podcast, which is called Audio Mullet, audiomullet.com. And and so I almost never sign into the Babylon Bee account anymore because Dan took that over. But I recently had signed in. So when I was on autopilot on Saturday uploading the Audio Mullet podcast, I didn't realize I was signed into the Babylon Bee account. So it got sent out to everybody. And not only that, it was actually a pretty bad episode because like we were having connection issues. So Doug, who has been on the show before, Doug Tenaple, creative Earthworm Jim, he gets very passionate about certain topics, almost everything he talks about actually. It was him ranting about. And the other thing, my apology, is that we don't flower bed in that show. Now, I don't think he swore technically, but he did say some off-color stuff because he's very upset about this lockdown. So he went wild. But it also was out of sync. There's a part where it went really badly out of sync because of a bad internet connection. So it's not a great representation of the show either. So I didn't do myself any favors, I don't think.
But I like to think that if people went onto their Babylon Bee podcast and said, "Oh, new episode," and they clicked on it, they would just be like,
they'd be very confused, right?
But I like to think that after about a minute or two, they would go, "Oh, this
you think
is the wrong
they'd figure it out?"
I mean, it has like
we got one angry email. I've only seen one so far.
Different theme music.
I'm on there, but I'm not.
Do you say like "Welcome to the Audio Mullet" podcast?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe
that's a great theme song.
Maybe it is confusing that you're on
I think it's confusing that I'm on it.
Like, maybe this is like an alternative thing.
Though I guess it would be more confusing if it was completely different. They'd think it was Apple's fault. Anyway, apologize for people that got that episode. I'll try not to do that again.
But this podcast is not Audio Mullet. This is the Babylon Bee podcast.
That's right.
We tell you about cool things. We read weird news to you. Mm-hmm. We do Babylon Bee stories so that you can be informed.
You get to be informed through mockery and derision and scoffing.
And sarcasm, just like Jesus taught.
Exactly.
And then we are going to talk with Hans Fiene. I think that's what we settled on for the
Fiene
pronunciation of his name.
Fiene.
Do you think Fiene?
Let's wager.
Now.
Fine.
Let's wager. I wager 12 shekels.
I wager 1 syllable. You wager 2.
Okay. You have to bet money though. You can't bet syllables.
Shekels?
I'm betting shekels.
Okay. I wager drachma. I don't know what that's something.
Yeah, it's I've heard that before. Or something, right? Yeah. Like Roman or maybe
drachma.
Yeah. Sounds like a heavy metal band.
Yeah, or like a really bad cough. I got the drachma.
I got the drachma pop.
What's next?
So, and then we're going to talk to him, and then we do hate mail, and that's the end of our.
Yeah, we're going to hate mail.
So let's do it. Are we ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
But now, this week's edition of Stuff That's Good.
Oh, man.
This is a fantastic Stuff That's Good, because I'm offering something that's very on brand for the Babylon Bee, and that's a sermon.
Okay.
And then Ethan's recommending.
Why are you previewing everything?
And then Ethan's recommending something that is not on brand. I'm just looking at the notes here, and it's very funny.
Okay. There's nothing for yours.
No, I know, but I already know what it is. So I'm going to recommend a sermon that was preached in 1985 by W.A. Criswell.
Teacher's pet?
Yeah.
Jesus' teacher's pet.
That's right. I get extra credit.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you get... whatever. And this is a sermon called Whether We Live or Die, and you can find it at wacriswell.com. So the SBC had this downgrade controversy where liberalism and the idea that the Bible was maybe inerrant was starting to creep into the seminaries, and there was a big debate.
The Bible is maybe inerrant?
That the Bible maybe was not inerrant.
Oh, okay.
Was errant.
I always thought they mostly thought it was inerrant.
Was not inerrant. Maybe.
Can we get that in slow motion?
No.
Just helping you not.
Well, every 2 knots cancel out. So
yeah, right. Anyway,
so they were in the middle of this controversy, and at the annual Southern Baptist Convention, W.A. Criswell preached this like amazing sermon, and it's very Southern Baptist preachery. And in all my life, I have not seen any downgrade quite like this one.
He sounds like that.
Yeah, and it's great. And I used to listen to it weekly. So
it's like a sermon that a serial killer would be listening to in like a Hollywood movie, because that's like they always have to be listening to like a pastor or something.
Yeah, and clearly they've never actually listened to a sermon before, whoever wrote it. So it's like that.
Okay. Cool.
And he basically goes through how the Baptists in England went through the same controversy, and eventually they closed their doors. They closed all their seminaries, they closed all their schools because they subscribed to this idea that the Bible had errors in it. So he encourages everybody, and he goes through Spurgeon's life, and it's more of a lecture than like a verse by verse sermon. But at the end, he's like pounding the pulpit, and you can hear everybody cheering at the conference. So they end up voting to, basically to go in the direction to include inerrancy as part of the SBC. So a lot of people think this conference, and specifically this sermon, was the hinge that saved the Southern Baptist Convention from going into liberalism and irrelevancy.
Sounds good. Well, I'm going to recommend a bottle of hot sauce. So I do watch, there's a very popular show on YouTube. I'm sure most of you guys have heard of the Hot Ones. First We Feast. They interview celebrities, and they eat varying degrees of hotter and hotter hot wings with different hot sauces on them. I was inspired to try some of these hot sauces, and I like spicy food. So if you like spicy food, you will like this. If you don't, you're going to hate it. But there's a sauce called the Garlic Reaper hot sauce. That's because it's made from lots of garlic. It's very garlicky. And Carolina Reaper, which is the hottest pepper in the world. And it's hot. I will tell you that. But it's if you've ever seen that show, they have a hot sauce called Da Bomb, which is the one that like almost everybody loses their mind when they eat it. It's just under the Da Bomb. So it's like right before you die. So anyway, it's kind of a creamy yellowish color. It's not like your normal. It's got like this I don't know,
like
garlicky. Yeah, it's very garlic. Like I have this issue where one of my mottos, which I got from my father, is that you can't put too much garlic in your cooking. By that I mean like you literally cannot. You can put an entire multiple bulbs of garlic in, and it's going to be good.
You can put a whole garlic tree in.
Yeah, you could just eat pure garlic.
Yeah.
So we should do a recipes episode sometime or something. Now we're going to be doing video. We could do like a cooking episode.
That would be something
awesome. Anyway, so that's it. Speaking of cooking, we got our lunch almost here.
Ooh, nice. So there will probably be a gap that you guys won't hear where we're eating lunch.
Yeah, because we don't want to eat into your ear holes. That'd be gross. All right. Well, we'll see you guys when we start doing the news. Weird news.
We're going on to weird news.
This has been Stuff That's Good.
That's worse than our hate mail sound effect. And I could say that because it was me proposing okay, so weird news is what I said there. First, before that, I said, that was my sound effect for weirdness.
It's very weird. But mission accomplished.
We need a good title for this segment. If anybody else, if you guys got ideas for titles, email podcast@babylonb.com. We need something more clever like
strange news. Strange occurrences.
There you go.
Strange occurrences.
Oddball takes. Oddball news.
Bizarre happenings.
What's like you take headlines, but what rhymes with head that's funny?
That's funny?
Yeah, like not
dread lines.
Bleh. Headlines. I don't know. So we got some weird news for you. First one, California woman dreamed about eating engagement ring. She woke up to find she actually did.
How do you verify a story like this? Like this woman
It's on the news.
Like she calls up NBC
It's
News.
not
and
on
says,
The Onion.
So I had this dream about eating my engagement
She probably went to
ring.
the hospital. Yeah, that's a good question. Like,
And
how
then,
do
like,
they become
I
news
woke
stories?
up and then I was totally eating it.
She says in her dream that she's being chased by some bad guys on a train, and she had to protect the ring. And she's like, "You ain't getting this ring!" And she drank a cup of water and swallowed it in front of them. Have you ever had a dream where you did a thing in the dream and then you did it in real life?
Yeah, like a motion maybe, but not like something really complicated. Like I'm going to pull an engagement ring off my finger and then eat it.
Have you peed?
Not in my adult life.
Oh. Yeah, I think I was probably. I can't remember the last time I did that. I think probably junior high or something. Something happened.
Yeah, sure.
You dream you're in the bathroom, you're going, and then you wake up. It's happening.
I remember I would dream I was on a roller coaster. There's a medical term for these, where you're lying down and it's like
the falling feeling?
Just when you're dozing off and then you go.
You freak out? Yeah.
You
I hate
do this
that.
and then you wake up and you're like, oh, what happened?
Yeah.
Because you throw your arms in the air. I've had that. But no, I've never eaten my engagement ring.
Me either. Yeah, mine would be, I'd probably die.
Do you have your OG wedding ring still?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's a big old thing.
I have gained 50 pounds since I got married.
Huh.
Same wedding ring. It still fits. I think my skin just grows around it. It's like a tree if it grows into a fence or something.
I'm about the same size I was now. I lost almost 100 pounds for part of my, and so I had to put these little things in the ring to keep it on from falling off when I got skinnier, and then I fit back into it now. So next story, rusty knife embedded in man's head for 26 years after being mugged.
Do I get to read any of these?
Oh yeah, sorry, I was just trying to keep it moving.
Okay. So
yeah, rusty knife was stuck in his head for 26 years.
So did he not know? Oh, he
probably knew, just didn't know what to do. I don't know. Maybe he was.
The knife had been kept in his head because it was believed to pose a threat to his life if he had it removed.
So they're afraid his brain would fall out. We just had lunch, so I'm trying not to.
We're all burping and stuff.
I know my digestive fluids are working hard.
Wasn't there that guy that got impaled with rebar or something, and he had it stuck in him for a long time? And they couldn't. He just lived with it.
I don't know. I don't know that one.
That was Phineas Gage was an American railroad construction foreman because he had the improbable survival of an accident in which a large iron rod was completely driven through his head.
Wow, his head?
Yeah. It just
and he lived?
And he lived, and it was just stuck.
It was sticking out of his head?
Supposedly.
That's a way better story than this, but this happened recently.
Yeah,
the attack happened when I was 14 in 1994.
This was 1800s.
Oh, wow.
Maybe it didn't stand there. Maybe they took it out. But the deal, he got stabbed in the completely through his head. They pulled it out. And
was it an accident?
I'm sure it was an accident.
Or was it a big guy?
Yeah, he was a railroad construction foreman. So I think it happened on the job site.
Guess a lot of stuff happens on those railroads.
Yeah, I've been working on the railroad.
It's a dangerous profession. Laying track. Okay, you read the next one.
Woman dating a chandelier has discrimination case thrown out. So Discern.
Discern did this one?
According to Discern. Yeah, okay. I'm sure they're referencing another site. Mm-hmm. But Discern is brief.
Yeah, very brief.
Smart and faithful.
Brief, smart. Wait, you do it.
Brief, smart, and faithful.
Discern. That's our theme song. We're trying to pitch it to him.
Adam hasn't gone for it so far. A British woman who claims to be in a long-term relationship with a 92-year-old chandelier was told that her attraction to the light fixture is not a protected sexual orientation.
Wait, and how old is she?
I don't think she's 92.
Yeah, that's disgusting. I mean, the age difference there is really...
There's a big age gap.
So I think she's kind of a gold digger, the 92-year-old chandelier. Yeah. It's obviously not its looks. It's all the diamonds hanging from it.
Discern is so brief that they don't tell me how old she is.
Yeah, you got to click on the older.
But the picture, she looks, I don't know, maybe 20-something.
And she's making out with that chandelier.
She's not making out in the picture.
In the picture I'm looking at, she's got her lips on it. Amanda Liberty. That's her name. It's a good name.
It's a good name for someone who wants
in a relationship with her chandelier.
Marry a chandelier.
I want to find the quote. She said something. I don't know if this is the original. Oh, yeah. She has spoken out about her unusual love story in the media, previously saying she planned to have a commitment ceremony to Lumiere to show that my love is going to last. What's their song, I wonder? Lumiere. I love that its name is Lumiere. Did she name it? That's a woman's dream, right? That she not only gets to marry somebody who's totally compliant and has good fashion sense like a chandelier, but you get to name. My wife would have been happier to name me, I think, than to have the name I was given.
Probably You Light Up My Life.
That was too easy.
Candle in the Wind. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's about dying. Never mind. But yeah, You Light Up My Life would be a good one.
Yeah.
So another story that happened, since Ethan did 2 in a row.
Okay. Fair's fair.
Turnabout is fair play. My, how the turntables.
Wiki.
Novelty toilet roll cakes keep Finnish baker in business. Cakes that look exactly like rolls of toilet paper are being displayed at Runtasirova Bakery as the spread of the COVID-19 continues. They're just making toilet paper cakes.
So they're not made out of toilet paper.
Sad. That's not weird enough.
Yeah, that's he's trying to be funny.
News.
I don't see what, I don't like people trying to be funny accidentally. Like, for instance, this next one.
Accidental funny.
Oh, wait, no, this guy's trying to be funny too. Man opens up corroded can of Spider-Man pasta from 1995 after getting 1,995 retweets. So it's like a 20-something-year-old can of pasta.
What I'm getting from this is just that people are very bored right
Very
now.
bored.
Marrying chandeliers.
I want to know if he ate it.
We're marrying chandeliers. We're making toilet paper cakes. Our pets' heads are falling off.
Okay.
Monkeys and apes chain smoking cigarettes as coronavirus panic grips planet.
They all are? They just...
Stressed out primates have taken to chain smoking cigarettes.
Where do they get these cigarettes, though?
It's like a prison, right? Because they're in a zoo or whatever. It's like a prison.
Oh, they're at a zoo?
I assume so.
It's just weird. Everybody's inside and the monkeys have somehow found it. Maybe they have a stash. They're all smoking. There's another monkey one. Monkey caught on camera flying kite on rooftop. The monkeys are making the best of this coronavirus pandemic.
Yeah.
Now I want to know the backstory though. Like, did these monkeys steal kites and cigarettes, or
do
they have their own factories?
In the U.S. prison system, cigarettes are the currency, right?
Right.
From what I've been told. So I assume in monkey prison, which is a zoo, it's feces.
So they're smoking feces?
No, it's just that's what they trade with. So when they want cigarettes, they have to bribe the other monkeys.
But I assume the only person who can get them cigarettes would be a zookeeper or something. That's
I assume the monkeys from
crooked zookeeper.
Yeah, crooked zookeeper.
So he trades a handful of feces. Yeah. So he's got some weird stuff going on if that's what he's into.
And then, I assume wild monkeys can come visit. There's visitation rights.
Okay.
So they come and then, when they're in the little room, they pass it. They pass it over.
King conjugal visits. Can we say that? Can I not say that? King conjugal.
Pensioner thrown from fighter jet after accidentally pulling ejector lever mid-flight.
So apparently this guy he had a lot of money. I'm going to click on it. This is funny. Me and Dan were reading this, and it's horrifying. He apparently paid a bunch of money to go on this fighter jet, super expensive. He's 64 years old. He's a Frenchman, which is even funnier because then he goes flying out. He's like, wee! Like he made a French noise.
So he just like, you know what? I'm old, and I'm gonna go on a fighter jet.
Yeah, Raphael B at an airbase, and anyway, trying to find the best. So apparently he was shooting up into the ascension, going up really fast, and he was holding on for dear life because I guess the G-force in this thing's intense. He doesn't realize, and there's a pilot. He's not the pilot. He's just like co-pilot. He's along for the ride.
Right.
He doesn't realize the thing he's gripping to hold himself down, like because he's like kind of scared, is he's pull the ejector cord or whatever you pull, lever, and he just shot up out of the plane. I guess he just.
This is like a Looney Tunes gag.
Yeah, it's totally a Looney Tunes gag.
An airplane gag or something. So did he die?
We were trying to find that. There is a picture.
Did the parachute?
Of him coming down in a parachute. So
the parachute went off. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't say if he got hurt or died, so I'm really sorry if he died. We're not laughing at that. But because a lot of things that happen to Looney Tunes, people would die. But apparently the pilot was supposed to get ejected also. Was
that your professional medical opinion on Looney Tunes?
Yeah. That was delayed.
Do you know if we said it so dry? Like, wait a minute, back up. You're telling me if a piano falls
right on your head.
On your head.
Generally.
It would probably kill a roadrunner.
Unless you're that rebar guy, then you might survive.
Dynamite would probably kill a coyote who was trying to blow up a roadrunner.
Generalizations always contain a lot of truth.
You would probably die.
So yeah, apparently when he pulled this lever, it was supposed to actually shoot the pilot out of the plane too. And by some strange miracle, from my understanding of reading this article, which is
probably...
So this
fighter jet would have just been...
Yeah, it would have crashed and the pilot would have been... Which begs the question, why is the co-pilot seat have that enabled? Like, why is
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, why is the newbie guy...
They're giving tours.
Yeah. That's like a thing that would be in a bad movie.
Maybe there's a safety thing, like you have to have that. You can't disable that.
Like the bad guy has the good guy tied up in the back seat, and he's like, "I'm going to fly you to my lair," and then like, "Oh, there's an ejector lever right next to me." He's like, why would you put that next to the guy?
Why do we even have that lever?
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that it would have shot the pilot out to me is even more hilarious. Anyway, Missouri sues televangelist Jim Bakker for selling fake coronavirus cure. I believe it's like some kind of silver nitrate. But we just figured we'd mention this because Jim Bakker.
Yeah.
He made some news.
Jim Bakker was selling all the apocalypse gruel.
Apocalypse gruel?
He was selling these giant buckets of nacho cheese, and there was this fantastic infomercial, and he's like, when the rapture happens, you gotta have the nacho. And then he like takes a spoonful of it, and he's like, and you could tell it's just absolutely disgusting.
Nasty.
But who's laughing now?
What's it like being a guy like that?
Now we could...
A racket guy.
Now that all the grocery stores are packed and empty to food,
yeah,
we all could use a bucket of...
apocalyptic nacho cheese. Is it apocalyptic heat level? Because I like my nacho cheese spicy.
Apocalyptic ghost pepper sauce. Coronavirus. Police raid closed... Police raid... closed Liverpool Comedy Club after live stream mix-up. So I guess this comedy club was live streaming an old video of a stand-up routine, because when you post on Facebook, if you go live, you're featured at the top of everybody's feed. So people do that, like, oh, we're live. And
people live comment. It's a good way to get interaction.
You get some interaction.
So you can do it with a movie. You can do like live stream a movie, and everybody can comment on it.
So they did that, and they got reported for like having a meeting when they're not supposed to be gathering.
Yeah, the whole so they guess they got raided by the police.
What? There's nobody here.
That's that one.
All right, well, let's move on to the real news from the Babylon Bee.
Yeah, let's get serious.
Every week, there are stories. These are some of them.
Story number 1 this week. De Blasio announces system for reporting social distancing violations. That would be the mayor of New York. Knowledgeable actors reporting edict noncompliance, which is Karen. Or Karen.
Oh, it's spelled Karen. Yeah.
Was I supposed to read that, or was I supposed to read this paragraph?
We didn't. You know what? Last week we tried. I forgot to write those this week. We were trying to write not the straight headlines.
Oh, actually, that would have worked.
That's just a sum.
Anyway.
Oh yeah, if it works. Oh, did you write these? Did we write them, Dan? Dan's always so on top of things that
He's always way on top of it. Look at that.
Assume that if I didn't think of it, he didn't think of it.
Okay, so the New York, I can't talk today. New York's mayor, he's got the system now where you can report people. And it's called Karen.
Okay.
He wants everybody to be a Karen.
So what's with the Karen thing? Where did this come from?
This was a meme that
my kid's constantly saying it.
Yeah, it's like,
Both
okay,
of them,
Karen.
the
So
10 and 13
Karen is like the middle-aged.
It's a derogatory term for like
the middle-aged woman who asks to see the manager.
Who complains.
Yeah. Like, I have a coupon for 10% off and it expired a week ago, and can I see a manager, please?
Yeah. So how many Karens do you know in real life?
I've been pretty lucky. I think most people in my life
that have the actual name, not...
Oh, okay. I got you.
Because I want to know how they line up with this. How do they line up with this stereotype?
Do I know any Karens is the real question. I'm searching my Facebook.
The only one I can think of, she spelled it differently. But
how do you spell Karen differently?
Kind of like that, huh? She spelled Caryn, which is interesting. Yeah. Very...
Karen Swallow Pryor.
Oh, yeah. Karen Swallow Pryor. Is
she a Karen?
Is she?
I'm going to ask her.
Yeah. Well, we don't ask her. We don't ask restaurants she visits.
Yeah.
Okay, that lady that was just here with the blonde hair and the professor glasses. Did she act to see a manager?
Yeah, we need to find out.
Yeah. She's a person that's...
If anybody knows Karen Swallow Pryor personally, let me know. I'm only interacted with her online.
If you're willing to kind of stab her in the back a little bit.
Let us know how if she ever has asked for a manager.
Yeah, it feels a little dirty, the Karen thing, right?
Well, it's sad. You're making
mean.
You're making fun of Karens.
People named Karen.
But like, there's a joke about Kyles, and I don't care.
Oh, you don't care, yeah.
Kyle is like supposed to be some type of person. I don't know if there's like Chads and Kyles. And
what's a Chad?
I think Chads are like the bro, like the dude bro.
Oh wait, then what's a Kyle? Kyle's like just maybe there's a guide on the internet. I have a theory about Bretts. Bretts are almost never trustworthy.
Yeah, it's just Chads are like alpha male type.
Okay.
And then Kyle's drink monsters.
That's true.
Did you know a group of Kyles is called a pile? Terrible.
That's kind of dumb. Dwayne. What about Dwayne?
Is that a thing?
I don't know. These are ones that in my mind
you associate with like these stereotypes.
Yeah, like they're Dwayne. I always think of when I was first learning Photoshop, I worked at the local newspaper, and there's this guy with a mullet who always had the biggest big gulp, and he was always sipping it, holding it with his like elbow in the air, and he'd just be like, I was doing work experience at the local paper, and he never gave me any actual assignments. He'd just be like, here, that's Photoshop, just do that a bunch, just learn it. And that was it. And he was right. I just sat there for that 2-hour class learning Photoshop, and Dwayne. So Dwayne, I would say Dwayne would be like a.
Did he have a nickname like the Stone or the Boulder?
No.
Dwayne the Boulder.
Oh, Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Yeah, that's a Dwayne. Yeah, he doesn't fit the stereotype at all. He doesn't fit the stereotype. Maybe I'm wrong about Dwayne's.
What about Diane's? Susan's?
Diane's my mom's name, so.
My mom's name too.
It's hard for me to be. Are our parents alike? Our moms?
We'll find out. We'll get them on for the Mother's Day episode.
Did your mom put pee in your ears when you were a kid?
No, she did not. At least I don't.
You know?
Not to my knowledge.
That was, once again, a story from the subscriber portion. You're going to have to.
Ethan and I were comparing all of these like names of these middle-aged women, maybe a little older than middle-aged, some of them, and like we found out that all of our aunts had the same names. Oh yeah, Susan. Yep. Yeah.
Susan. What's the difference between a Susan and a Karen?
I feel like Susans are very Karen-esque.
But does Susan call the manager, or does Susan write a formal complaint or something? I don't know. Might be a little different. It's subtle. It's subtle. Now there's Barb, though. Barb is the one that I think deserves more of a stereotype.
I feel like Barb is like an older person, though.
Barb? Yeah. Like a waitress at a diner. Or a librarian. Well, no.
So I guess I'm looking at all these memes. And This podcast is now Kyle and Ethan researching memes that kids share because we don't understand them.
We didn't research before. During the research time,
well, even if I did, I wouldn't understand. I don't get memes.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
Until I see a meme in a context I understand, I'm not going to get it. Like I read the Know Your Meme, and I'm like, I don't get it. Karen, Sharon, Becky, Chad. There's all these.
They got all these?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now it's a whole thing, and you take a name and you make a stereotype. I did see someone on Twitter saying that Karen is like the N-word for white women.
Yeah. That's going a bit far, but I do think that it taps into...
No, it's very far. I'm making fun of it.
Yeah, very far. But I mean, I'm saying that it taps into that we humans have that desire to have an N-word, to have like... To make words that are just mean. Right? Like...
Yeah.
To categorize a whole group of people.
You're such a Karen.
Yeah. Like there's nothing good about the impetus towards having that word. Yeah. I think it's a really bad word. I understand it's funny, but like at the same time, it's like I see like there's an ugliness to humanity that
but it's also just
Karen's evil.
It's also just how humor works.
Sometimes, yeah, because you're being hyperbolic.
Yeah,
I think it's for me. It's like
shorthand. You can instead of saying, "Hey, you're just like that lady who complains to the manager," you just say, "You're a Karen."
Yeah, for me, it's less the person who created it because I get that joke because I make jokes about Dwayne's and Brett's all the time.
Well,
but when it becomes like a thing that you actually call somebody,
you're big on Brett.
To me, I feel like it's more like I don't make the jokes, but I'm always trying to convince other people that I'm right. Like, how about I'm always asking, like, what are the Bretts you know? They're nice, but there's always a little something off. They're just a little off about Bretts.
My dad's
I don't
Brent.
trust them.
My dad's not Brett. He's Brent.
I don't know. I hope we didn't lose all our Brett subscribers.
Well, with all these names we're going through, we're going to tick off everybody.
Yeah, huge chunk.
Anyway, so New York did this thing where they were saying that everybody needs to snap pictures of people who aren't social distancing, and they put out a number, text it to this number, and authorities will get out there right away.
That is so Orwellian. It's freaky. That freaks me out.
Stop it, Karen. That is Orwellian. It's very scary.
Yeah.
Let's go on to our next story.
President Trump announced that President Trump announced that America will be reopening soon, and the occasion is going to be celebrated with an insane, once-in-a-lifetime grand reopening sale. He's going crazy over here in America.
Wow, man. So 50% off everything.
Deals, deals, deals.
All landmarks, all monuments.
Everything must go.
What would you buy at a cut rate from the U.S. government? I would get a fighter jet or a tank, maybe.
Buy maybe Idaho.
Oh, man, Idaho would be cool to own.
Yeah. Oh, Doug Wilson.
And a tank. You would buy Doug. You would own. Yeah, I don't think you would own.
He's in Moscow.
I don't think you would own everybody in the state.
That's true. I don't know why I'd want to own Doug Wilson anyway. But I don't know why Idaho. They have potatoes, and I don't like potatoes that much.
Hey, Doug, make me a sandwich.
Yeah. Hey, quit writing your 620,000th book and make me a sandwich, Doug.
Yeah, and since he's like a misogynist, like an anti-woman person, now you can tell him to make the sandwich.
Yeah.
How you like that, Doug Wilson?
Now, is he really misogynist, anti-woman, or is that your joke?
I'm joking.
Okay.
Thanks for having me clarify that.
I just, he might have people listen.
Yeah, and you got your
his
book
company
published.
Published my book,
I'm trying to get your book deal canceled is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So Trump has been talking about reopening the country, and he was saying, here are the guidelines.
Also, he has his own guidelines?
He put out broad guidelines, and he's been kind of hands off. He's telling state governors they're the ones who need to decide. But he says, if you're going to reopen...
I appreciate that.
He's like, here are the steps.
Yeah.
Look for this. This is a key indicator. Here's a key indicator. Here's another key indicator. Boom. Then you reopen. But he was pushing for May 1st on the opening up America plan. So...
Yeah, apparently it's locked in that California is going to be, till the 15th or 16th or something, or 18th or something?
I don't know. Our governor put out a very frightening statement.
Yeah.
That was we need these 6 things to happen before we will consider reopening. And it was
they're all insane.
It was we need a vaccine, and we need a workable treatment for it, and testing for everybody. And you're just that's never going to happen. So...
Yeah.
I feel like when a couple of states reopen, all the states are they're all watching each other.
The same way that it started, right?
And if a state opens up and does fine and their economy's booming, everybody else is going to quickly.
So who's going to take one for the team and open up first?
It's definitely a state in the South. Texas is already like trying to do stuff.
Yeah, they're already going for it.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, how they're trying to keep everybody closed down. Like, I get this feeling that they're trying to leverage this for the election somehow. It's, keep everybody miserable long enough.
Yeah.
Because if we all open up and everything, there's going to be like a surge of like hope and happiness and unity. We do it too soon. That. We don't want that when everybody's voting.
Do you also
the incumbent president?
Do you also think that while everybody's locked up, they're sneaking out and putting a bunch of chemicals in the water to turn the frogs gay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, that's true.
Just to be clear.
Yeah. I also think...
there are definitely people that are looking to take advantage of this.
Yeah, I don't think it's a conspiracy where they plan in the back room, but I just get the sense. I don't even get the sense that they're trying to write it out. I think that they get nervous about the idea that it turns around and becomes something in his favor at the wrong time, which is an understandable concern if you're on that side.
Yeah.
I don't even think there's conspiracy involved. I think it's like politics.
So Trump in this commercial for this reopening sale, he goes, "We've got monuments, we've got landmarks, we've got national parks, and it's all going 50% off. We're slashing prices all around the nation. Need to pick up a special something for that special someone? Why not come on down to the National Mall and get yourself a Lincoln Memorial for millions off the sticker price? But wait, there's more." You looked at me. I said, "But wait," and you looked at me. You're like, what? What? There's more?
I'm waiting.
The first 100 shoppers will receive the art of the deal absolutely free. Free. And every copy will be signed by yours truly. What? Why would I do something like this? Because I'm crazy.
Hit himself on the head with a frying pan.
Oh, man.
Crazier than an outhouse rat.
The National Mall is pretty disappointing. There's not even a hot topic.
What is the National Mall? Have I been there?
It's like the like in front of the White House and
like that whole walk around,
that walk around
flat area.
Yeah,
where like the memorial is and stuff.
I think it's like
I've been there.
Yeah, it's where the memorial and the Washington Monument. I'm gonna Google what the National Mall is.
Okay.
It's the long, grassy National Mall, including the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument. So that's the National.
It makes me question what a mall is now because there's no stores.
The World War II Memorial was super cool.
Yeah, that's all the different soldiers.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was really cool.
You remember that? That was awesome.
Yeah, totally remember that.
Well, do we have another story?
We got one more.
Let's do it. Democrats are scrambling to defend Brett Kavanaugh against his accusers after he put on a Joe Biden mask. That's
Why didn't you think of that a long time ago?
Gosh, if he had only thought about that during that whole trial, it would have been great in October.
Yeah, maybe they weren't making, because Biden's really popular right now.
Yeah, so now
maybe they actually make masks. I don't know if he could have made one. He'd have to print one off of Google.
Well, I'm sure a Joe Biden mask existed at that time because he was the vice president.
That's true.
For 8 years.
Probably wasn't a big seller still, though.
I doubt many people dressed up. I don't know. I think if you had a black friend and a white friend, that might have been a popular like party costume. Like, hey, let's go as, hey, bro. So Chad goes up to Dwayne and he says, hey, bro, let's go as
Chad and Kyle.
Chad. Can there be like black Chad and black Kyle, or is that?
Yeah.
Do they fit the kind of
races?
if they fit the?
That's the weird thing, because that's where it kind of shows you there's some racism there. Because
what if your name?
If you did a black name, and instantly racist.
Yeah, right.
You can't say like
Jamal, Chad's, Jerome's, and Jerome's. And Jamal's.
Yeah, can't do it. So.
Or we just did. So now we're.
Yeah. Well, we did. We did as an example of what not to do.
Of what not to do. Don't make that joke.
Don't you do it.
Yeah. So Joe Biden's been accused of sexual assault.
Yeah.
Is that right?
By a lady.
Sexual harassment, at least. And like the New York Times was talking about how it's completely different from the Kavanaugh situation. CNN had 0 articles on their website mentioning Tara Reade's name.
That was the name.
And there were 700 articles mentioning Christine Blasey Ford, who accused Brett Kavanaugh.
Wow.
Of rape.
So, well, I mean, if you need to write 700 articles about Christine Blasey Ford, how are you going to have time?
Well, it's only this other lady. Like, yeah, they were probably burned out.
Yeah, they're busy.
You know, we already wrote 700.
Yeah.
Here's another one. It's just too much.
It's like, line up. Start your own news. If you want to write about it, start your own newspaper. Newspaper. News outlet. CNN finally ran this headline. Democrats grapple with questions about Tara Reade's sexual assault allegation against Joe Biden. So they ran one. But there was a tweet, right? We got a tweet. Did you read the tweet?
Yeah, so Kate Kelly, who writes for the New York Times, was questioned on why she had remained silent on Biden's sexual harassment story. And she said, as our executive editor pointed out, Kavanaugh was a live, ongoing story that had become the biggest political story in the country. It was just a different news judgment moment. We don't need to cover Biden as much. It's a different moment.
It's just the presidential election. Yeah, it's not a big deal.
He's just running for president.
Yeah. Because obviously, like, if Trump had this woman accusing him, that wouldn't have been a big deal either. Well, they would just completely ignored it.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah.
NBD,
it's just a different moment.
SMH.
Not a different, yeah. It's not that it was a different person or a political party, it's just a different moment.
It's a totally different moment.
Yeah.
What does that even mean? It's a different news judgment moment. Well,
we wouldn't understand. We're not journalists.
Well, we are journalists.
Are we? What?
Well, that's going to be our excuse if a policeman pulls us over while we're driving to the office. I'm a journalist.
Yeah. Oh, they're essential?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think journalists are essential.
Gotta be.
And then CNN finally ran a headline about this.
Oh, yeah, I read that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, I missed it. Democrats grapple.
They're grappling. Are they grappling with each other?
They're in a big room. All right, everybody, to the grappling room.
Wearing these loincloths and doing the Greco-Roman wrestling.
Oil them up, boys. It's grappling time. Goodness gracious.
To be fair, I haven't read much about the sexual allegations, but that's because there's nobody wrote any stories about them.
Yeah. How are we supposed to?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's sexual assault allegation, so it's pretty serious.
Is she a believe all women candidate?
I don't know. Believe some women. Sometimes. Not always. All right. Well.
All right, yeah. Sorry, I was trying to read the story during the podcast.
We're going to talk to Hans.
Happy trails.
Who does Lutheran satire, and you might have seen his funny videos about the Trinity and other such topics.
Yeah, Lutheran cartoons.
Lutheran cartoons are a very popular market.
Yeah, huge.
Much like our worship leader jokes. But he's also a writer at the Federalist and a Lutheran pastor, so we're going to talk to him. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Presenting an exclusive Babylon Bee interview.
All right, everyone. Well, here we are in our interview of the week with, we have determined the correct pronunciation, Hans Fiene.
Hans
there you
Fiene.
go.
You need a little guttural. Hans.
Guttural?
Yeah.
No.
Hans. No, I don't think you need the guttural.
No, guttural.
That's gruff. Guttural is like that's like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like that.
No,
Okay.
it's like
Hans.
a German guy just burned his hands.
Yes.
Hans.
Right. Yeah.
That's because it's,
Yeah.
He just touched an iron. It's turned on.
and that's what they yell.
Yeah.
Just to be
I
clear
don't know. I
here.
think I have other words they yell, but yeah.
So who are you?
Oh, that's a deep question, isn't it? I'm a Lutheran. I'm a Lutheran pastor in Illinois. I'll be moving in a couple of weeks to St. Louis to begin serving a congregation there. But I've been serving River of Life Lutheran Church in lovely Shanahan, Illinois, which is about an hour southwest of Chicago, for a little over 9 years at this point, about 9.5 years. I am the son of a Lutheran pastor. I grew up in a number of places in various congregations my dad was serving. So I was born in northern Minnesota, lived in Sandy, Utah for a number of years, then lived in Connecticut. And then my dad took a call to a congregation in Indiana when I was just shy of 13 years old. So that's, and I lived in Indiana until I graduated from the seminary in Fort Wayne, Indiana, where I whereupon I went to go be the pastor of the Lutheran Church in Denver, Colorado for a couple of years. So I proudly consider myself to be a Hoosier. That's where I spent most of my life. It's where all of my sports loyalties lie and all of that stuff. So that's kind of the general biographical details.
So are you one of the good Lutherans?
I'm one of the best Lutherans.
Yeah, but you're like you're not like, because all the Lutherans in my area, it's like they're mainline.
Yeah. So to kind of
really
give
Christians,
a little, right? Yeah, it's in some ways that's becoming helpful. To kind of clarify things a bit. So yeah, to give kind of a brief history of Lutheranism in America. So it's fairly similar, I suppose, to a number of other denominations and confessions of faith. Lutherans obviously do not have a pope. We have what has made you a Lutheran is holding to the confession of faith as expressed in what we call the Lutheran Confessions. So a series of writings written from the time of Luther into the second generation of Lutherans that the first generation dealing with this is what we Lutherans believe as opposed to the Roman Catholic Church. And then in the second generation, this is what we Lutherans believe as opposed to kind of the growing Calvinistic confessions of faith. So historically, you were a Lutheran if you believed in those various documents, if you confessed what was confessed in those various documents. And then obviously in the United States of America, we have this whole freedom of religion thing, which means that you can't shoot people for calling themselves Lutherans when they're not.
Sad.
It's, there are ups and downs to every system, I suppose. One of the ups is you're able to preserve the preaching of the gospel and keeping the government out of determining who's a heretic and who's Orthodox. The upside of that is that you don't give people who should not be in control of the truth power over the ability to preach the truth. Downside is a bunch of people who aren't really Lutherans can call themselves Lutherans and make your life slightly more irritating. So historically, there are groups that have come out of Germanic Lutheran or Scandinavian Lutheran immigrants, but didn't hold to all of those documents that determined whether or not you were actually a Lutheran. And so for some of them, there were more kind of historical things that they had sort of kind of left behind, as opposed to my church body, the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, which is very much rooted in those writings. And if a congregation doesn't acknowledge them, doesn't confess them, and doesn't say this is our confession of faith, you can't be a part of our church body. So kind of what's happened throughout history is that, what we would typically call the more mainline denominations, including a group called the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, they're not as bound to that stuff. Their identity in Lutheranism was much more cultural. And they also had a bit of a different church polity than we had. So once theological liberalism came into their seminaries, it just kind of took over everything. And they didn't have the same means of fighting back against that say, our church body, the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, had. So kind of just what's happened is that you get a lot of clergy who go there, who buy into the higher critical methods of interpretation. They reject the idea of the inerrancy of the scriptures. And then, 5 seconds after you reject the inerrancy of the scriptures, you quickly figure out that all of the parts of the Bible that say stuff that you don't like those are not the inspired word of God. Those parts are not inspired. And then all the parts that you do like, those are inspired. So, and then you kind of follow that path, down into the kind of progressive wokeness that we have today. Yeah. So you'll get a lot of churches that will be called Lutheran that are not even Christian in any real meaningful sense of the term, reject the divinity of Christ, reject the reliability, the inerrancy of the scriptures, and embrace a whole host of kind of pagan and secular notions of the origins of human life and who God is and human sexuality and kind of all that stuff. So that's a long way of saying we're the good Lutherans and they're whoever they are not.
Yeah, and that's unlike all the other denominations. Like you go to a Baptist church, it's good.
I love, by the way, when if you ever come across these Baptist churches that have very loaded names and you don't know what the background of the name is, but there's definitely a story there, so you'll be driving down the road and you'll drive by, like, this is True Bible Apostolic Baptist Church. And you're like, well, you clearly split off from someone that you consider to be fake Bible, Baptist Church. So one day I want to just drive by one that just says, like, Jeff Schmidt Stinks Baptist Church. Like, all right, that one's at least being honest about what's going on. Doesn't cloak it in nearly as much piety.
Yeah, if it has United in the name. They've been through,
right.
They've been through a few splits.
Yeah, right.
Is that when they say first? They're like trying to be like, we were first.
Yeah, first one, the first United.
First, dibs on first.
Yeah.
I've seen like third. I don't know if I've ever seen a fourth. I'm sure there is a fourth somewhere, Fourth Baptist or fourth.
I think there's a Fourth Presbyterian in Chicago, downtown Chicago. It's that insofar as Presbyterian churches are beautiful, is a very beautiful church building. I don't know the exact history of that. I think it just had to do with the number of ones in the area that had already been started. So, but yeah, it is a terribly unappealing name for Fourth Presbyterian. It does not make it seem like the coolest church that you could go to.
Should just be
I say this as a guy who's a pastor. And what's that?
Should just be honorable mention at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're not first, second, or third, really.
Third runner-up Presbyterian church.
Second Baptist is the first loser. No fear.
If you're not first, you're last.
That's a dated reference.
Yeah. If you're not first, you're last Baptist church. That would be a good, yeah.
All right. Well, one thing that people may know, Hans Fiene. How did I do that?
Nice.
How did I do?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
One thing people may know him from is his Lutheran Satire videos, which every time we post a joke about the Trinity, about like people doing bad Trinity analogies, everybody just floods our comments with links to your video on bad Trinity analogies.
I know. I wish any time that someone uses the phrase "Okay, Patrick," I wish I got a nickel.
Yeah, our whole comment section is "Okay, Patrick."
Is that from the video? I haven't seen this video.
Yeah, so there's these two characters. So what are these characters' names?
Well, they didn't have any names at that point, but they later came to be named Donnell and Connell. They're two 5th century Irish peasants. The gist of the original video was it was, I think, coming up on Trinity Sunday. And I just kind of have always gotten a little annoyed with bad analogies to try to describe the Trinity, because obviously the point with the Trinity is there is nothing else like it. So there's, any comparison is going to end up falling short. And most analogies that people use, especially kind of typical Sunday school teacher teach this to children type of analogies, they always end up veering off into some heresy that's actually not what you want people to think the Trinity is like. So the concept of the video is St. Patrick is evangelizing to the Irish, and he goes to a couple of Irish peasants seeking to, he tries to explain the Trinity to them, and they don't understand and ask for an analogy. And he gives them one analogy, and they point out the ancient Christological heresy there, or Trinitarian heresy. And then he gives them another one. They keep pointing out the heresies in there, which is really basically kind of the joke is, there are a few jokes that I will never get tired of using. One of them is irrational hostility. It's just always funny to me. And then another one is stupid people being inexplicably intelligent about certain things is for whatever reason always funny to me. So that was kind of the gist of the video, and that throughout the years has been the most famous or most viewed of my output. So that one's got it probably has 2-3 times maybe as many views as whatever is the runner-up.
So we wanted to throw some more analogies at you, because maybe we found some good ones here.
Okay. All right.
Because maybe you just didn't get all of them.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so tell us, can you identify the heresy?
Yeah.
In these?
All right. We'll give it a shot.
Okay. The Rice Krispies, snap, crackle, and pop. It's like the Trinity.
Yeah. It's one Rice Krispie, but 3 sounds.
Well, that
guys. Would be...
or 3 guys. 3 elves.
Oh, all right. So hold on. Wait, are you saying the elves snap? Because snap, crackle, and pop are the names of the elves.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But then Ethan went to the sounds.
But are you so you're talking about?
Well, they're named after the three properties of a Rice Krispie.
Right. Well, that's what I was confused about. Is are you saying that the three properties of the Rice Krispie, that it snaps, it crackles? And
I think
pops.
they're the incarnation of the sound of the Rice Krispie.
This is getting very deep.
Human.
Well, first of all, here's the problem with this analogy. Is because I've eaten Rice Krispies many times in my life, and they pop and they crackle. They don't snap. I've never heard a Rice Krispie snap.
It's not like eating chicken bones or something.
Right? Yeah. This would the only way this analogy. First of all, right out of the gate, this analogy doesn't work because this only works if there's a third person of the Trinity who doesn't do anything, who's not present at all, who's just named, but doesn't actually
really not pulling his weight,
Yeah, right. So it breaks down right there.
So that's heresy.
But I guess so are you saying snap, crackle, and pop are each manifestations of the essence of the Rice Krispie, or what kind of is the idea here?
I don't know.
We figured you'd kind of pick it up and fix it for us.
I'm going to just stick with the fact that it doesn't work because snap is bogus and it doesn't. Which one is snap? Is that the blonde one, by the way?
Dan, Google it.
I have no idea.
Either way, it doesn't work because you don't have all three persons of snap, crackle, and pop pulling each pulling his own weight.
Let's try another one then.
Okay.
Potatoes. Potatoes are, a potato, but they're also French fries. They're also mashed potatoes.
No, that's modalism. Yeah, that's the idea that a potato comes to you in different forms, so that you can have you can have French fried potatoes, you can have mashed potatoes, you can have twice baked potatoes if you're really fancy, and it's 1947. Potato chips. So that's
remember tato skins. Remember those chips? Tato skins? Are they called?
Yeah.
Those are popular.
Are they popular?
They were like in the 90s, I think.
Do you remember back in the 80s that commercial for Oboises, the potato chip?
Oh, yeah, they're boisterous.
Oboises are boisterous. Yeah. I don't think they make those anymore. I only remember that potato chip brand existing for a solid 2 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm going to go with modalism on this one. That's just different forms of the potato manifesting itself to you, which is heretical.
So can you say that's modalism, Patrick, for us?
Do you want me to shame myself and say it in the accent, or do I just say it in a dejected, regular Midwestern accent?
Well, we want the accent.
Okay. That's modalism, Patrick. It takes me a while to get into it, so
that's good.
That's never going to be as bad cold. But
what else we got? We could do some of the classics too, I guess. But
what about a fidget spinner?
Yeah. Okay. This was an interesting one. Someone presented this to me before.
Oh, that's real?
I'm just trying to think of what is the argument that it's a good analogy for it. Because I would say
it's good for people that have mental problems. Jesus.
Well, yes, in that sense,
or
in the sense that both
ticks.
Jesus, in the sense that both the triune God and the fidget spinner are beneficial for those with attention deficit disorder or whatever it might be.
Maybe the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit are all super cool, and you can collect them all.
I'm not sure that works. I think the problem with the fidget spinner is that it's kind of that same sort of partialism thing that you have these. It's not partialism quite in the sense of Voltron, as I reference in the original video, but each one it's kind of the same thing with the 3-leaf clover, right? That each leaf is not fully the clover, but together they form the fullness of the clover. So that therein lies the problem with that, is that the Father is fully God, the Son is fully God, the Spirit is fully God. But with a fidget spinner, each fidget, is that what you say? Each
fidget,
each nub,
fidget nub,
each nub, yeah,
fidget.
Each fidget. Yes, I've never heard that word before said.
I just invented it.
It felt very gross coming out of my mouth.
Gross.
I don't ever want to say it again as long as I live.
Spin it by the third fidget.
I don't even like hearing it now. It's awful. So I would say I think that still falls into the partialism heresy.
You know, the problem with the 3-leaf clover analogy. Nobody wants a 3-leaf clover. Everybody's looking for the 4-leaf. So
right. That is another problem.
That makes it sound like, oh man, just a Trinity. Why can't you add one more, God, so it could be lucky?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, I'm reading back over our list, and they're so stupid. I'm afraid to even bring them up.
Actually, the best one I've heard was Neapolitan ice cream. Because then the analogy was something along the lines, or the argument was, because what is Neapolitan again? It's chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
That
terrible.
That the chocolate is not the strawberry is not the chocolate, and so on and so forth, and that you don't have. It's not Neapolitan ice cream unless it's all three of those, right? So if you have ice cream, so if you say to me, "Hey, do you want some Neapolitan ice cream?" and you only give me the chocolate, then you haven't really given me Neapolitan ice cream. I need all three in order for it to really be the case. So that's the best. My answer to that is, yeah, but that's stupid, and I don't know. I can't completely tell you why. I just know it's wrong.
So as a pastor, do you often say that line?
That your analogy is stupid?
Yeah, but it's stupid. Like, it seems like that would apply in a bunch of different circumstances.
Yeah, there are times, like whenever there's a stupid book that comes out about something that you know is stupid, and you know you're going to have to probably read it because your members are reading it, and they probably need something a little more than it's stupid. You know, like if the Heaven is for Real book, a number of years ago that comes out and everyone's reading, they're like, oh, you got to read this. People will believe in God now because of a book about a little kid who supposedly died and went to heaven and then came back. And you go, it's stupid, but you got to probably sit down and read the thing. And then you read it and you go, yeah, this is as dumb as bad as I thought it was going to be. I do. Yeah. We obviously hate children if we don't allow their stories to trump the scriptures in terms of where we find hope in the promises of God. But yeah, kind of stuff like that, oftentimes happens. Yeah, where you gotta just sort of suck it up and spend some time reading something that is going to be dumb in order to give people a more thoughtful response than it's dumb.
I like this track we're on. I'd like to get into more heresy and dumbness. You're kind of going off on heresy and things that are dumb. So what are some other heresies or things that are dumb that you see either people getting wrong just about Lutheranism or just Christianity in general? Just go off. Just let it out.
Yeah, so the 1 minute hate.
Yeah.
That's not enough time.
You can have more time.
I suppose there's a lot of stuff. I think people are, especially in American kind of suburban circles, there is a tendency for, and in particular amongst kind of boomerish audiences, people have a tendency to get sucked in by anything that seems fun and novel. Mm-hmm. And because they're bored, because oftentimes the truth is less entertaining than heresy.
Wasn't Lutheranism fun and novel? That's why people. That's clearly why it is that people embraced it. Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I mean, of course, there's always the new thing is always intriguing because it causes people to say, why what's the difference between this and the old thing? And of course, this is from the perspective of a Lutheran, it's an easy sales pitch.
where someone says, oh, if you're the new guys on the scene, someone says, well, what's the deal with you guys? How are you different from the Pope? And then you say, all right, well, here's what the Roman Catholic Church teaches about the doctrine of justification. Here's what the Bible teaches. This is why we believe the things that we do. So that, there's an appeal to the scriptures there, which is good. So anytime you're having that's good. Anytime you're kind of having a conversation rooted in this is what the scriptures say. And obviously a big thing for the Lutherans, if you go through and read the Lutheran Confessions, is what we're teaching is not new. So this is what we're teaching is not a novel interpretation of the scriptures. We're not the first people to come along and say that you are justified by faith alone in Christ, that you're not saved by your good works. We're not the first people to come along and say that the Pope doesn't have authority over all Christians by divine right. So a lot of Lutheran history is going through a lot of the early church fathers and showing that throughout history what we're saying is just a continuation of the truth. So, but yeah, I think one of the things that's sort of weird about kind of dealing with American theological controversies is, in large parts of the world, I'd imagine saying to people, no one has ever taught this before, it should be a fairly compelling reason for someone to go, oh, then yeah, it's probably ridiculous. So someone comes along and they go, I read the Bible and I figured out if you do a bunch of math and addition and subtraction and you carry the one and you add the remainder, I've discovered when the world is going to end. And you go, guys, everyone has always said that this is the interpretation of Jesus's words about no one knows the day or the hour. And that's probably a really good example of people going, yeah, but that's boring. It's way more fun to feel like you've figured out the answer. And so to say, well, look, guys, this is a novel interpretation. No one's ever taught this before. In large parts of the world, I'd imagine people would go, oh, yeah, that's probably a good point. Maybe if no one else has ever had this idea before, it's probably not valid. But especially in America, where we're a country that thrives on innovation and just building something that's never been built before. I mean, that's part of what obviously makes America great. But in a theological sense, it's oftentimes not a good thing at all because you say to people, someone goes, hey, pastor, I just read this book that tells me the exact date when the world is going to end. And you go, oh, no one's ever interpreted the passages of the Bible that way before. And they go, so? And you go, well, I thought that was going to be a more convincing argument than it proved to be. All right, and then you go further back into the text and stuff like that. And that's oftentimes too one of the things you find is people oftentimes just have a tendency to believe the stuff that's more fun to believe. And so you can show them from the scriptures. So, you can show them from the scriptures, that the heaven is for real kid is not where you're going to find your hope and the promise of the resurrection. You find it in the scriptures. And people just go, yeah, but it's more fun. It's cuter and it's sweet. And I got this book I can give I gave my friends a Bible and they ignored that. So I can give them this and maybe this will work. And so much of that is it's just, I think, the novelty of it all is very appealing for people. So that can be certainly a frustrating thing that I like to rant about, I guess.
Yeah, I got sent a crazy theory by this guy on my Facebook the other day. I don't want to get into it, though. There's all the numbers.
Well, why'd you bring it up?
I don't know.
Oh, that's awful. Isn't that ridiculous when people send you that and they go, hey, here's how we can know when Jesus is going to return.
Well, this guy was an atheist, but he was like somehow using all this math to prove me that Christianity can't be true.
Oh gosh, well even that, yeah, it's all that. Yeah, you're looking at this and you're going, at least for me, looking at this going, look, I went into theology because there was no math. So you're really betraying the foundation of this field of study to try to get me to do math. It's like on Facebook when I see all these people who are apparently bored in the quarantine and they keep passing around all these riddles that have to do with math, and you're going, what? Guys, I graduated from high school a long time ago. I do not have to do this anymore. There is no level of boredom you could possibly throw at me where I would finally get to the point where I'd be like, what I got to do right now is some math homework.
A little casual math.
Yeah. I'm still light years away from that.
I like the clickbait on those. It's like, if you get this one, your IQ level is in the top 5% of humanity or whatever. So, and they're doing it so the person will share it and be like, I'm a genius. Yeah. They didn't figure out
98% of people couldn't get this.
Yeah.
Right.
They're
that's always the really easy ones where that's the case too. Yeah.
Well, you inherently have to be bad at math to be into the Trinity because 3 equals 1 is already bad math.
If you are not
That's
tripped up by it, it helps to not. For if someone just comes to you and goes, "Hey, did you know that 3 is the same as 1?" Kind of, and you go, all right, fine. That's if you hate math like I do, that's you're naturally kind of disposed to having theology work a bit better for you.
I'm looking at a list of the top selling Christian books. April 2020.
Let's get his 3-word reaction.
I just
each
want
one.
just gut shot reaction. I'm not going to go through all of them, but
okay.
5 Love Languages, #1 selling book, April 2020.
Is that's considered a Christian book?
Wow, savage, brutal.
Well, no, I mean, I've read it,
Heartless.
and I think it can certainly be very, very helpful. But I honestly don't remember though. Is that is it explicitly intended to be a Christian book?
That's definitely
remember
who Gary Chapman was targeting.
I remember they're all talking about in churches.
Yeah, they sell it to churches and stuff.
Well, see, this is a good example to me of Christian. The church would be in a much better place if we could recognize there's a middle ground in our lives for stuff that is kind of somewhat devotional in nature. So it's not totally secular. It has a Christian component to it, but it's also not fitting for worship because it's not as Christ-centered as something could be. So to me, it's like with music and worship, right? So there's a ton of, vaguely defined Christian music that does not at all talk about who Jesus is and what he's done for you. And if you're listening to that, and if you are importing into it the faith that you already have, it can certainly be beneficial for your own devotional life, right? So in the same way that, if you're filled with despair and depression or whatever it is, and you sit down and you don't even know what to pray, and you just keep saying over and over again, Lord, please, Lord, please, Lord, please, or, Lord, have mercy on me, have mercy on me, have mercy on me. And you just pray it for 3 hours. Now, that's great and wonderful and beneficial for your own devotional life. It's not great and beneficial and for the body at large, for the body of Christ at large, because people can't import their own kind of personal spiritual state is not transferable to what you're going through to kind of make it work at that time. So we need to be able to say hey, here's something that very well might be beneficial for Christians. So Christians, do you, and beneficial for everyone certainly, but especially if you already have a Christian worldview, Christians, do you want to get better at communicating with your spouse and understanding the way that they think? That's a really super duper valuable thing. That's fine. So if you're going to write that book, great. If you want to market it towards Christians, great. I don't have any problem with that at all. It can be really valuable, beneficial stuff. But when you're going to church on Sunday morning, that's time primarily for you're a sinner who needs the forgiveness of sins. Jesus has given you that forgiveness and that mercy. And you shouldn't hijack it with stuff that very well may be beneficial in a certain sense, but is not primarily what the church is there for. So don't be talking, don't talk about love languages instead of Christ crucified should, I think, be a simple rule for Christian churches.
So I'm not good at math, but that was more than 3 words, I think.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I was trying to remember the connection.
That book is an updated version of C.S. Lewis's 4 Loves, right? 4 Loves, yeah. That's what that was,
yeah.
I believe.
He just added one.
He added one and made it a little easier to understand. Dare we do another?
Yeah, you're not going to get 3 words out.
I don't know if we have time.
I know. We'll edit him down to 3 words.
So, I don't know if you heard of this, but Joel C. Rosenberg, do you know who that is? He writes those pre-trib, pre-millennial.
Oh gosh.
Thrillers about Jerusalem all the time. It's always Jerusalem exploding and
okay, right, yeah.
So he's got one called The Jerusalem Assassin. So yeah. How about Rachel Hollis, Girl Wash Your Face?
Girl.
Girl Be Quiet. I don't know. Is that bad?
Oh man.
Go home, girl.
I don't know.
Home.
Yeah.
Girl, shut your face.
No, I don't. I have not read this. I mean, one of the things about we Missouri Synod Lutherans is we are just simply not at all as immersed in kind of evangelical pop culture Christianity as obviously evangelicals are. So I genuinely don't know anything about her books and what the point of them is. Is it, although my guess would be, here's my guess, just based off of being a human being in the world today, so it's Girl Wash Your Face. Is that the name of the book?
Yes.
Is the point of the book that women should not feel bad about being assertive, or they should be more assertive, or
that so much makeup?
Yeah. Is it like
skincare?
You don't?
Or women have bad skin habit issues, skin issues?
The little thing is on the cover is stop believing the lies about who you are so you can become who you were meant to be.
Okay, so it's like don't so is it kind of like body positive type of stuff mixed with a little bit of Jesus?
It's like it's like you can't do your laundry, but that's okay.
Okay, right.
It's it's Joel Osteen for women, I think.
Okay, yeah. Osteen for women then would be my
okay.
Oh, good.
If I get 4 words, it's Osteen for insecure women. Maybe.
Sorry to all our listeners who like that book.
Yeah, I haven't.
Really
my apologies if it's good. My guess is not. I don't
know. Total Money Makeover, Dave Ramsey. Top number 5 selling book last month.
Wow.
This month.
My response would be, we'll see, dude. I don't know, just like something along the line, because I think obviously Dave Ramsey has a lot of valuable financial insights to give, but I think also too sometimes it's a little ridiculous. So you're like, don't ever pay for anything with credit. All right, we'll see, dude. Kind of that. I'll try. I'll try, dude. Is maybe the proper response. Like, I'll go give it a shot. We'll try to abide by some of these general principles, but we'll see, dude.
The 5 love languages of children.
Oh, this is a second one.
It's like
let it go. It would be my
That is one of them, actually.
That was 3.
That's one of my daughter's love languages.
My wife and I, a couple of years ago, we had a little foster daughter who was with us for a couple of months who did not speak a word of English. She was Nigerian. She did not speak a word of English, but by the end of her stay with us, she was walking around the house singing "Let It Go."
Ruined her.
Yeah. Destroyed. How about one more? Rick Warren, The Purpose-Driven Life.
Oh my gosh, that's still on there.
Like top 30 still. Yep.
Okay, not enough.
Sure, this would be a short answer.
Yeah, sure. Not enough Jesus. That would be my answer there.
Dang.
Take that, Rick Warren.
Yeah.
Watch as the Lutherans own Christian authors.
Yeah.
With facts and logic.
Well, we thank you for coming on, sir.
It was my pleasure. I had a great time talking with you guys.
How can our listeners check out more
ranting and raving?
Fiene.
Yeah. You can go to lutheransatire.org. You can look it up on the YouTube channel. You can follow me on Twitter, which I believe my handle is @HansFiene. It's HANSFIENE.
Spelled just like it sounds.
Yeah, my life would have been a lot easier if that had been the case. So you can find me there.
I really miss Adam Ford.
All right, we have 2 emails that we're going to read today. One of them is supposed to be a complaint, but then it turns into a compliment.
Oh,
so nice. And then we have an actual hate mail. A complaintment. So this guy says, I have to complain that the comments on your website are limited to 500 characters. I want to thank you all for everything the Babylon Bee has done for me over the past few years, especially with regards to my faith and my education. How are we helping with the education?
Yeah.
But 500 characters simply are not enough
More faith.
to express just how much I've grown as a person and as a Christian through the ministry of the Babylon Bee. I also want to thank you for the COVID-19 relief fund y'all made. But I cannot effectively do so because of the 500 character limit.
It's over. But is there a limit on emails? Is that the joke? It's just the joke.
There's a form on our site. That's how you contact us.
I thought is there a 500 character limit on the comments? The new comments?
I don't think so.
Okay. I thought he was talking about those. If you don't know, everybody, we have a new feature on the site.
We have comments now.
We have now, but you have to be
premium subscriber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to be part of the premium elite ruling class who gets to make comments on all the articles and stuff and see our secret new article. I think everybody gets to see the secret new articles, but only
the comment sections are locked to premium and above. Yes.
They can comment. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Like it.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Rich.
Rich.
That was Rich.
Okay, now we have another email from
this is a hateful one.
Old age crazy person.
Their email address?
You're a jerk at
ahole.com. I don't know. You flower bed it?
You want to read this one?
Okay.
So this was in regards to the article. Most millennials are completely unaffected by the orders to stay in their parents' home and not work.
Okay, now in that context, so the joke is that...
It's actually making fun of millennials.
Yeah, it's making fun of millennials.
This guy thought we were making fun of old people.
Okay, because I was so confused by the reaction. Your writer is a prejudiced. Ageism! Tell your darling puppy to get the hell back up on the porch. Us old farts are the whole reason he/she even has a computer to insult people with. So what did you patent today? So we analyze this?
My favorite part is, what did you patent today? Like, yeah, you want to complain?
What did they patent today?
Show me the filing that you took down to the patent office today.
Yeah.
Is that the measure of having a productive day?
What do they think we were saying? Because we were saying, we're joking that millennials, they don't even notice the difference because they're always at home being taking care of their parents and not working, right? Like, that's the joke. And you're a millennial making fun of yourself.
There's something I'm missing here.
And that they read that. Your writer is a prejudiced. And I love that just one sentence, the shortest sentence. Ageism!
I wonder if I had a joke in there, because sometimes I put a joke in there.
There's something in the writing?
That makes fun of, that goes back the other way.
Tell your darling puppy. Is there anything about a puppy in there?
Okay, so at the end I said, boomers have been affected by the orders, but only a little bit, since they tend to go into the office at 9 and leave at 11 most days to go golfing anyway.
That's it?
So,
is there anything about a puppy?
Tell your darling puppy. What did they say? Tell your darling puppy to get the flower bed back up on the porch.
Yeah. What's that mean?
Like there's a...
Is that an analogy I don't know about? Like, oh man, have you seen Phil lately? His puppy is way off the porch.
We're talking 100 yards off the porch.
Way up, and he's out there. We got to get that puppy back on the porch. And like, get your flower bed together. Get your stuff together. It means get your puppy up on the porch. I'm trying to figure it out. Sounds like a Dave Matthews Band song.
You know what they say? Puppies on the porch.
Get your puppies on the porch. Get your puppies on the porch. I don't understand. If anybody has any insight, we don't know where this is from, so this could be dialect or the way people talk where this person's from. Maybe it's Kentucky or some, Iowa or something.
Yeah, maybe in Kentucky.
And that's an analogy they use.
That might be the state motto of Kentucky for all I know.
Your darling puppy. Your darling puppy. Get back up on the porch. Us old farts are the whole reason he or she even has a computer to insult people. Now, it sounds like they're referring to the puppy having a computer, if you follow it.
Your writer is prejudiced. Yeah. It's like they're saying, tell your writer to get back up on the porch.
Why is the writer on the porch?
But the writer is the puppy.
Okay, your writer is prejudiced.
So the editors of the site are the old guys sitting on the in the rocking
because they're
chairs.
On the porch.
And they're
us old farts are the whole reason. So get up on the don't try to go out there into the world yet, puppy. You got to grow up into a big dog.
You got to come back here on the porch
where the old guys, the old farts.
You got to chew on your bone and get big and strong.
We're the whole reason you have a computer to insult people with.
Boomers invented computers.
Yeah, did they?
No.
Well, yeah, right.
No, because they were invented in like the 1940s. So it'd be like Greatest Generation or Silent Generation.
Yeah,
for the most part.
They need a shorter name.
Although boomers, probably what? Bill Gates would be a boomer.
Definitely.
Steve Jobs.
I guess, yeah.
He's a dead boomer. Too soon?
A lot of dead boomers. They're adding up. I don't know. I guess that's worse too. I was trying to help you.
So if anybody has hung in there all the way through this podcast, and even though we've lost all of our Chad listeners, our Kyles, our Bretts, our Dianes, our
definitely
Susans,
Karens,
our boomers, our puppies, everybody else, thank you for listening. We're going to move into our paid subscriber portion. And we have had an enjoyable blast of a time with you this week.
Yeah, we're going to talk about what are we going to do? We're reading an email I got from a guy who had some requests. One of his requests was some more stories from my childhood.
We're going to go to the mailbag is what we're going to do.
That's what we're doing, mailbag. All right. Let's go, Kyle. Into the mailbag.
Once more, into the breach.
The rest of this podcast is in our super exclusive premium subscriber lounge. If you're not a Babylon Bee subscriber, go to babylonbee.com/plans for full-length ad-free podcasts, access to our headline forum, 20% off the items in the Babylon Bee store, a gift, and more. Please drop us a review on iTunes and share the podcast with a friend. Feedback and love mail go to podcast@babylonbee.com. Follow Ethan at AxeCop and Kyle at _Kyle_man on Twitter. Kyle and Ethan would like to thank Seth Dillon for paying the bills, Adam Ford for creating their job, the other writers for tirelessly pitching headlines, the subscribers, and you, the listener. Until next time, this is Dave D'Andrea, the voice of the Babylon Bee, reminding you to go forth and punch Satan repeatedly in the ribs.